The miracle question helps you envision your goals. Scaling helps you measure your progress toward them. What makes progress possible is the next step in the miracle question process. That step is called the experiment. By experiment, I mean some task, an action, or a set of observations that you decide to do and that you believe will advance your miracle score. Some people think of these tasks as homework or assignments, but I think of them as experiments because you don't really know how they'll affect your score until you do them. Like an experimental scientist, you begin with the hypothesis that a particular experiment will move you closer to a 10 on the miracle scale. Then you do the experiment to see if it really accomplishes what you hoped for. The approach to choosing an experiment is very important. In working with clients and also in my own life, I've developed some guidelines for what does or doesn't work as an effective experiment. One thing that doesn't work very well is doing a task you'd plan to do anyway. Much like when a company meets financial expectations, its stock doesn't rise, so it is with experiments that aren't really experiments, they're just part of your usual routine. An effective experiment typically involves some challenge, but don't choose an experiment that's too difficult or too ambitious. If it's too big a challenge, you may fail to carry it out. And when that happens, most people feel as if their miracle score went down. You don't want that. As with so many other situations, the best experiment is usually somewhere in between too easy and too hard. Finally, I've noticed that the most effective experiments don't require a particular outcome in order for your score to go up. Just doing the experiment should be enough to increase your score, even if the results aren't what you'd hoped they'd be. Your score may go up more if you get the results you want, but just by doing the experiment, you learn something, and that itself is valuable. To sum it up, like the choices Goldilocks makes in the famous fairy tale, you're looking for something that's not too easy, not too hard, but just right. It's something you really do want to do, even if you feel a little anxious about it or you've been procrastinating. And even if the experiment doesn't work out exactly as you hoped, just doing it should still advance your score. Once you've chosen your experiment, commit to doing it during the next week. Also, estimate how much you believe it will move you toward a 10. For example, let's say you decide that working on your relationship is the most important thing you need to pay attention to right now. Let's say that you and your significant other have been fighting a lot, or you've been feeling distant from each other, or maybe you're even talking about breaking up. But you both know that's not what either of you really wants. Your experiment could be to schedule a weekly date night starting this weekend. And let's say that you predict if it goes well, your overall score will advance from a 4 to a 5. But you also think that even if it doesn't go the way you hope it will, you'll still get to a 4.25 just for making the effort to start working on your relationship. The next step is to evaluate the experiment after 1 week has passed. What happened? Did you do the experiment? If so, how much did it actually advance your score? If you didn't do it, why not? Did something get in the way? Or did you do something else that advanced your score instead? Once you've completed and evaluated the experiment, you've traversed the first leg of your miracle journey. My most basic rule of life is, if something's working, do more of it or things like it. If something's not working, do something else. This rule is fundamental to experimenting. Each time you conduct an experiment, estimate how it will affect your miracle score, and then evaluate what actually happened, you're perfecting your estimating skills. You're training yourself to more accurately predict the effect an experiment will have on you. The more accurate your predictions become, the more confident you can feel that future experiments you enact will get you closer to your personal miracle. So if something doesn't help you as much as you thought it would, figure out why and then make a course correction with the next experiment. When an experiment does help you, pay attention to how and why it did. Then rescale, create a new experiment, and a week later, evaluate how that one went. Continue to repeat this process until, week by week, month by month, you create the miracle you imagined, or something even better. Then, if there's more you'd like to accomplish, ask the question again and begin another miracle journey. There's no limit to this process. It's difficult to get somewhere if you don't know where to begin, where you want to go, or how to map out the journey. Answering the miracle question helps us envision the desired destination. Experiments move us forward, and evaluating each experiment and rescaling keeps us on track. Much as Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz discovered she always had a home, and the Tin Woodman found his compassion, and the Scarecrow displayed his brilliance, and the Cowardly Lion showed his courage, by traversing our own yellow brick roads, we become who we're meant to be. Perhaps today is when you begin a journey down your yellow brick road. What will you notice when you wake up tomorrow in Oz? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.